Imagine walking into a room and immediately feeling like you belong there. Not because everyone is looking at you, not because you're trying to prove anything, but simply because you carry yourself with that quiet confidence that says, I know who I am. That's what women notice. That's what makes them lean in. Even if at first they didn't give you a second thought. The biggest mistake men make is thinking they need to go out there and convince a woman to like them. You don't convince someone into attraction, you become the kind of man who naturally draws attraction. And that starts with working on yourself first. When I say work on yourself, I don't just mean hitting the gym, although taking care of your body matters. What I'm really talking about is the energy you carry into every interaction. If you don't love your own life, if you don't feel excited about what you're building, if you're not proud of the man you're becoming, she's going to sense it. Attraction is contagious. If you feel stagnant, if you've settled, if you're waiting for someone else to complete you, you're not bringing anything to the table that inspires her curiosity. Think about it. When you meet someone who's passionate about what they do, who wakes up with a purpose, who lights up when they talk about their life, you can't help but feel drawn in. That's what women feel when they meet a man who is genuinely working on himself. It's not about being perfect. It's about showing progress. It's about being someone who's in motion, not stuck in the same place. Now, the truth is, most guys want shortcuts. They want a magic line, a clever trick, some secret formula that makes women chase them. But here's the real secret: women chase growth. They chase energy. They chase the man who is already busy chasing his own life. If you're constantly trying to win her over without winning yourself over first, you'll always come across as needy. And nothing kills attraction faster than neediness. When you work on yourself, it changes the way you enter every interaction. Suddenly, you're not desperate for her attention. You're not overthinking every text. You're not scared of losing her because your life is already full. You've already built something that excites you. And that freedom from needing her to fill the gaps in your life, is magnetic. She can sense when you're whole, and ironically, it's that wholeness that makes her want to be a part of your world. This doesn't mean you have to have everything figured out. In fact, women don't expect that. What they want to see is that you're moving forward. You're ambitious, you have goals, you're growing. Maybe you're working on your fitness. Maybe you're leveling up in your career. Maybe you're building hobbies, traveling, or deepening your friendships. Whatever it is, it shows that you value yourself. And when you value yourself, people can't help but value you too. There's another layer to this. When you put in the effort to work on yourself, you raise your standards. You stop chasing women who aren't genuinely interested because you realize your time is worth more than that. You stop bending over backwards for scraps of attention because you know you bring value. That mindset shift alone changes the way women respond to you. You stop being the guy who's begging for approval, and you become the guy who already knows he's enough. That's the man women chase. And here's the beautiful part: when you're focused on building yourself, you don't need to play games. You don't have to pretend to be busy or act aloof or create some fake persona to get her interested. You actually are busy. You actually do have things going on. You actually are interesting because you've built a life that excites you. That authenticity is what makes her curious. It's what makes her wonder, what's so special about this man that he's not desperate for my attention? Why does he feel so different from the rest? Remember, attraction is not about convincing her of your worth. It's about showing up as someone who already knows his worth. It's about being the man who, even if she walked away, still has an incredible life to go back to. That's the paradox. The less you need her, the more she wants to be part of your world. So before you ever think about what to say to her, before you analyze whether she likes you, before you start strategizing how to make her chase you, stop and ask yourself, would I chase me? Would I be excited to step into my own life if I were on the outside looking in? If the answer is no, then that's where the work begins. Because once you create a life that excites you, once you become the kind of man who inspires himself, you won't have to figure out how to make a woman chase you. She'll naturally want to. And that's where it all starts. Work on yourself first. Confidence. It's the one word that keeps coming up whenever people talk about attraction. And yet, most people completely misunderstand it. They think confidence is about being loud, dominating the room, or having some over-the-top charisma that forces everyone to pay attention. But that's not confidence, that's performance. Real confidence is quieter. It's calmer. It's the energy of someone who doesn't need to prove anything because he already knows who he is. And that energy, more than anything else, is what makes women chase you. When you meet a woman, she's not analyzing every detail of your resume. She's not going through a mental checklist of your achievements. What she's paying attention to is how you make her feel in those first few moments. Do you put her at ease? Do you radiate assurance? Do you carry yourself in a way that tells her, without saying a word, that you're comfortable in your own skin? That's confidence. And it's powerful because it makes her feel safe, excited, and curious all at once. Now, let me clear something up. Confidence is not arrogance. Arrogance is built on insecurity. It's that loud, boastful energy that comes from needing other people to validate you. True confidence doesn't shout. It doesn't need to. It's in the way you stand tall without puffing your chest out. It's in the way you can listen without rushing to speak. It's in the way you can handle silence without feeling the need to fill it with nervous chatter. That's the kind of presence that pulls someone in. The funny thing is, a lot of men think confidence means you never doubt yourself. But that's not true. Everyone has doubts. Everyone has fears. Confidence is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to move forward in spite of it. It's being comfortable with imperfection. It's being okay with rejection. It's knowing that if this woman doesn't choose you, it doesn't mean you're unworthy. It just means she's not your person. That attitude alone changes everything. Because when you stop fearing rejection, you stop overcompensating, and suddenly you can just be yourself. And that's the paradox. When you don't need her to like you, when you don't need her validation to feel good about yourself, she's far more likely to feel drawn to you. That's when she starts to lean in, because she senses that your energy is different. You're not desperate. You're not auditioning for her approval. You're simply inviting her to see who you are and letting her decide if she wants to step into your world. That lack of neediness is irresistible. Think about body language for a second. Confidence shows up before you even say a word. It's in the way you walk into the room. Are your shoulders back? Are your eyes up instead of glued to the floor? Do you make eye contact that says, "I see you," without being creepy or intense? Do you smile? Not in a way that begs for approval, but in a way that shares a moment. These small cues create an unspoken language that communicates your level of certainty. And believe me, she notices. Then there's the way you speak. Confident men don't rush. They don't mumble. They don't cram their sentences together like they're scared of wasting someone's time. They speak with pace, with clarity, with intention. They allow their words to land. They're not performing, they're communicating. And that makes her feel like she's in the presence of someone steady, someone grounded. It's that steadiness that makes her relax, and it's that relaxation that allows attraction to grow. But here's the catch. Confidence can't be faked. You can mimic the body language. You can copy the tone of voice. You can rehearse the lines. But if underneath it all you don't feel like a man of value, she'll sense it. Women are incredibly intuitive about this. They can feel when something is off, which is why confidence has to come from within. It has to be earned. It has to be built through action, through putting yourself in situations that scare you a little, through taking risks, through proving to yourself that you can handle whatever life throws at you. Every time you do that, your confidence grows. So, when you show up in front of her, you're not relying on her response to feel good about yourself. You're already standing on solid ground. And that's why she'll want to be around you, because confidence is contagious. It makes her feel more confident, more free, more alive. That's the gift you give when you cultivate it. Confidence is not about pretending you're the most impressive guy in the room. It's about knowing you don't need to be. It's about being enough right now without needing her to convince you of it. And once you truly embody that, you'll find that women who once seemed uninterested will start to notice you differently. Not because you've changed your words or your approach, but because you've changed your energy. And that's the energy that makes her chase you. If you think back to the moments in your life when you've felt most drawn to someone, it probably wasn't because they looked perfect or said all the right things. It was because of how they made you feel. You remember laughing until your stomach hurt, or feeling a spark of excitement you couldn't quite explain, or being curious about them in a way that made you want more. That's the real core of attraction. It's not about clever lines or trying to impress someone with a summary of your achievements. It's about the emotional experience you create when you're with them. When a woman decides whether to chase you or not, she isn't pulling out a checklist of your job title, your car, or how many times you've been to the gym this week. Those things may get her attention for a moment, but they don't hold it. What holds her attention is the emotional impact you have on her. If she feels excitement, curiosity, joy, or a sense of challenge when she's around you, she will naturally want more of that feeling. That's when she starts to pursue. And here's the key: creating emotional impact isn't about manipulating anyone. It's about showing up in a way that brings out the best, most playful, most vibrant energy in both of you. One of the simplest ways to do this is through playfulness. So many people treat dating like a job interview. They ask boring questions, give safe answers, and wonder why nothing sparks. But think about it. When you meet someone and they're playful, they tease you a little, they make you laugh, they take a normal moment and turn it into something fun. That's when you feel alive. That's when you start to lean in. Playfulness breaks through walls because it taps into something deeper than logic. It makes her associate you with joy. And when she starts to associate you with joy, she wants more of you in her life. Another powerful way to create emotional impact is curiosity. If you give away everything about yourself in the first 10 minutes, there's nothing left to discover. Attraction grows in the space between what she knows and what she doesn't know yet. That doesn't mean you should be secretive or evasive. It means you reveal yourself in layers. You give just enough for her to want to ask more. You leave space for her imagination. That mystery is exciting because it creates anticipation. She finds herself thinking about you when you're not even there because she wants to figure you out. That's what makes her chase. Then there's the element of emotional variety. Imagine going on a date where everything is polite, safe, and predictable. She might leave thinking you're nice, but nice doesn't make her chase you. Nice is forgettable. What makes her remember you is the roller coaster of emotions you take her on. Maybe you make her laugh 1 minute, challenge her opinion the next, then share a vulnerable story that surprises her. Suddenly, she's not just in her head analyzing whether she likes you. She's feeling something, and those feelings are what stick. Those feelings are what she wants to return to. The truth is, most men are scared to create emotional variety because it feels risky. It's easier to stay polite and safe. But safe never creates attraction. Safe keeps you in the friend zone. What creates attraction is tension. It's showing that you're not afraid to disagree, not afraid to challenge, not afraid to show different sides of yourself. That contrast makes her intrigued. It makes her feel like she's on a journey with you, not just sitting through another predictable conversation. Here's something important. When you focus on creating emotional impact, you also stop worrying so much about the outcome. You're not sitting there wondering, does she like me? Am I saying the right thing? Instead, you're focused on the experience you're both having in the moment. You're thinking, am I making this fun? Am I making her feel something real right now? That shift takes you out of your head and into the present. And when you're present, you're more authentic, more playful, and more magnetic. The beautiful part is, emotional impact doesn't just make her want to be around you in the moment. It makes her think about you afterward. When she goes home, she's not replaying your resume in her mind. She's replaying the way you made her laugh, the way you challenged her, the way she felt when you looked at her. That's what lingers. That's what makes her text you first. That's what makes her chase. So instead of obsessing over the perfect line or the perfect move, focus on the emotional experience you create. Ask yourself, how do I want her to feel when she's with me? Because if you can make her feel something unforgettable, she'll keep coming back for more. And that's the art of emotional impact. The difference between a woman forgetting you tomorrow and a woman chasing you today. One of the most counterintuitive truths about attraction is this: the less available you seem, the more someone begins to value your presence. And yet, so many men do the opposite. The moment they meet a woman they're interested in, they drop everything, clear their schedule, and start making her the center of their universe. They text her constantly, they rearrange their plans at the slightest hint of interest from her. And they give off the impression that their time, their life, and even their happiness depend entirely on her attention. And do you know what happens when you do that? She feels smothered, she loses curiosity, and instead of chasing you, she takes you for granted. Scarcity is powerful. When something is rare, we naturally assign more value to it. Think about it. If you walked into a store and saw a product sitting on the shelf in endless supply, you wouldn't rush to grab it. You'd assume you could always come back later. But if there was only one left, suddenly you'd feel urgency. You'd feel a fear of missing out. People work the same way. When your time, energy, and attention are given away too freely, they lose their value. But when you show that your time is limited, that you have standards, that you won't just drop everything for someone who hasn't yet earned it, you become more intriguing. This doesn't mean playing games. It's not about pretending to be busy when you're not, or deliberately ignoring her messages just to prove a point. That kind of manipulation backfires. What I'm talking about is genuinely having a life that keeps you occupied, genuinely being selective with where you invest your energy, and genuinely showing her through your actions that you value yourself enough not to overextend for someone who isn't meeting you halfway. That's what makes her sit up and take notice. Imagine a woman who wasn't particularly interested in you at first. Maybe she saw you as just another guy. But then she notices that you're not chasing her the way others do. She sees that you're busy living your life, pursuing your goals, and enjoying yourself with or without her. Suddenly, you're not predictable. You're not always available. And that little gap, where she doesn't know exactly when she'll hear from you or how much of your time she'll get, creates curiosity. It makes her wonder, what's he up to? Who's he with? Why isn't he chasing me like the rest? That curiosity is often the first spark that turns disinterest into pursuit. Women are naturally drawn to men who project independence. Independence says, I enjoy you, but I don't need you to complete me. It says, you can be a part of my life, but you don't define it. That balance is incredibly attractive because it removes pressure. No one wants to feel like they're responsible for someone else's happiness. But when you show that you're already fulfilled, already happy, already living fully, you invite her into something exciting without making her carry the weight of being your entire world. The challenge for many men is that scarcity feels risky. They're afraid that if they don't text her right away, she'll forget about them. If they don't make themselves available at all times, she'll lose interest. But here's the truth. If her interest is that fragile, you never had it in the first place. And by holding back, by maintaining your independence, you actually give her space to grow her desire. She gets to experience what life feels like with you and without you. And the contrast makes her value your presence more. There's also a deeper psychological layer here. When you're too available, you signal to her, often unconsciously, that you don't have options, that you don't have standards, that you're desperate. But when you show selectiveness, when you make it clear that your time is something to be earned, you flip the dynamic. Now she's the one wondering if she measures up. She's the one putting in effort, and that subtle shift is what makes her begin to chase. The beauty of showing scarcity and independence is that it naturally filters out the wrong people. The ones who were never truly interested will fade away. And that's a gift because it saves you time and energy. The ones who are intrigued, however, will step forward. They'll lean in. They'll invest more because they don't want to lose the chance to be part of your world. So instead of overwhelming her with constant pursuit, step back. Focus on your own life, your own goals, your own happiness. Let her feel the difference between having your attention and not having it. Let her experience the reality that you are not someone who can be taken for granted. Because when she realizes that your presence is something she could lose, she'll want it more than ever. And that's when she'll start chasing you. There's something fascinating about human nature. We don't value what comes too easily. We value what challenges us, what makes us curious, what leaves us slightly off balance in the best possible way. And this is why subtle challenge and mystery are so important when it comes to attraction. When you're too available, too predictable, or too eager to prove yourself, there's no tension. And without tension, there's no spark. But when you create just the right amount of challenge, when you keep a little mystery alive, you ignite curiosity. And curiosity is what makes a woman chase. Now, challenge doesn't mean being difficult for the sake of it. It's not about playing hard to get in some artificial way. Real challenge comes from holding standards. It comes from knowing what you want and not settling for less. It's the difference between saying, "I'll do anything to keep you," and saying, "I'd love to have you in my life, but only if this is truly right for both of us." That mindset makes you powerful because it communicates that you don't hand out commitment or attention just because someone's attractive. You reserve it for someone who genuinely earns it. That makes her feel like she has to rise to the occasion. Mystery works in a similar way. Think about your favorite movie or book. If you knew the ending 5 minutes in, would you keep watching or reading? Probably not. What keeps you hooked is the journey, the surprises, the parts you haven't yet uncovered. Attraction works the same way. If you lay your entire life, your emotions, and your intentions on the table right away, you give her no reason to lean forward. But when you reveal yourself gradually, in layers, she's compelled to learn more. She's intrigued because there's always another chapter she hasn't read yet. This is where so many men go wrong. They meet a woman and immediately dump everything about themselves into the conversation. They talk about their job, their past, their dreams, sometimes even their insecurities, all within the first few hours. They think honesty means putting everything out there. But what they don't realize is that mystery isn't about dishonesty. It's about timing. It's about giving her pieces of the puzzle, not the entire picture all at once. That pacing makes her invested. It makes her want to stick around to see what else there is to discover. Challenge and mystery also change the dynamic of pursuit. If you're always the one chasing, always the one initiating, always the one giving more, she never has to invest. She never has to wonder where she stands with you. But if you pull back slightly, if you leave some space, if you let her feel that she has to put in effort to get closer to you, the roles begin to shift. Suddenly, she's the one thinking about how to win your attention. She's the one strategizing about how to impress you. That's when the balance changes. And that's when attraction starts to grow. But let me be clear, mystery isn't about being cold or distant. It's not about playing games or withholding affection. In fact, if you go too far in that direction, you just come across as uninterested. The art lies in mixing warmth with unpredictability. You can be attentive, charming, and engaging in the moment, but you don't always make yourself available at the snap of a finger. You give her a wonderful experience when you're together, but you don't oversaturate her with constant contact. That balance is what creates the perfect blend of comfort and tension. Here's another important point. Challenge is not about arrogance. It's not about making her prove herself to you in a condescending way. It's about showing through your behavior that you have boundaries. For example, if she cancels plans last minute without a good reason, you don't punish her. You simply don't reward that behavior with eagerness to reschedule. You respect yourself enough to only invest in someone who shows respect back. That quiet strength, that refusal to settle for crumbs, is deeply attractive. It makes her realize you're not like everyone else who will accept any treatment just to be close to her. And mystery isn't just about what you don't say. It's also about how you live. If you're constantly growing, exploring new passions, meeting new people, and expanding your life, there will naturally be aspects of you she doesn't fully know yet. She'll want to understand what excites you, what drives you, what parts of your world she hasn't been invited into yet. That living mystery is far more powerful than any scripted attempt at withholding information. At the end of the day, subtle challenge and mystery create a dynamic where she feels both drawn to you and slightly uncertain. That uncertainty keeps her on her toes. It makes her invest. It makes her chase. And when you combine that with authenticity, warmth, and presence, you create a magnetic force that's almost impossible to resist. And that's why a little mystery and a little challenge can be the difference between being forgettable and being unforgettable. One of the most overlooked truths about attraction is that it doesn't happen in isolation. It's not just about what happens between you and her in a one-on-one moment. It's also about how the rest of the world responds to you, whether we like it or not. People take cues from the environment around them. If others admire you, respect you, or are drawn to you, she's going to notice that. And when she sees that you've already built a life full of value, excitement, and connection, she naturally becomes more curious about being a part of it. Think about the last time you noticed someone who seemed to be at the center of a group. They weren't necessarily the loudest or the flashiest person, but others wanted to be near them. People laughed more around them, gravitated toward them, and lit up in their presence. You probably found yourself paying closer attention to that person too, right? That's social proof in action. It's the subtle but powerful influence of seeing that someone is already valued by others, which makes us unconsciously assign them more value ourselves. When it comes to dating, this principle is just as powerful. If she sees you as the guy who is respected by his peers, admired by his friends, and welcomed by his community, she doesn't just see you, she sees the world you've created around you. And suddenly, being with you isn't just about spending time with one man. It's about stepping into a lifestyle that feels bigger, richer, and more fulfilling. That's the kind of attraction that goes beyond surface-level chemistry. Now, this doesn't mean you need to go out and become some kind of social celebrity. What it means is that the life you build speaks for you. If you invest in friendships, if you nurture relationships with family, if you surround yourself with positive, ambitious, inspiring people, that energy reflects back on you. It shows her that you're not a lone wolf drifting through life without direction. You're a man who builds and maintains connections, and that makes you more attractive. The same goes for your passions and pursuits. When you live a life that excites you, whether that's traveling, working on a business, learning new skills, or diving into hobbies, you create a natural magnetism. You become interesting because you're genuinely interested in your own life. Too many men fall into the trap of waiting for a woman to bring that excitement into their world. But it doesn't work like that. You build the excitement first. You fill your life with things that light you up, and then you invite her into that energy. Here's the beauty of it. When you're living this way, you don't need to constantly sell yourself to her. You don't need to list your achievements or try to prove that you're worthy. She can see it for herself. She sees the friends who enjoy being around you. She sees the way you light up when you talk about your passions. She sees the way your lifestyle reflects confidence and ambition. All of this creates an unspoken message that says, this man already has value, whether I'm here or not. That message is powerful because it removes pressure. She doesn't feel like you're looking to her to complete you. She sees that you're already whole. Social proof also works on a deeper, subconscious level. When she sees others admire you, she feels safer being drawn to you herself. It's like validation. It reassures her that her attraction to you isn't just in her head. This is why confidence combined with community can be so magnetic. Alone, confidence says, I believe in myself. But when others reflect that confidence back, by wanting to be around you, it amplifies the effect. It turns self-belief into undeniable evidence. But let me add something important. Value isn't just about external markers like success or popularity. It's also about character. If your friends respect you because you're trustworthy, if your colleagues admire you because you have integrity, if people gravitate towards you because you bring positivity into the room, that speaks louder than anything you could ever say about yourself. A woman who sees you as someone others trust and admire will feel compelled to get closer because she knows that kind of character is rare. This is why building value through lifestyle and social proof isn't something you can fake. You can't manufacture it with staged photos or exaggerated stories. It has to be real. It has to be rooted in the way you live every single day. And the best part is, when you focus on genuinely building your world, you stop obsessing about whether she likes you. You're too busy living a life that you like. Ironically, that's the exact energy that draws her in. So instead of putting all your focus on chasing her, put your focus on building something she'll want to chase. Fill your life with passion. Surround yourself with great people. Live in a way that excites you. And watch how naturally she starts leaning towards you. And that's how you build a life so magnetic that she can't help but want to be a part of it.